Good evening, I'm Roger, and this is NFL Trending. Tonight, we turn our attention to one of the most talked about storylines in football, Shedeur Sanders, his NFL draft journey, and the surprising admission from his father, Pro Football Hall of Famer and Colorado head coach Deion Sanders. For months, Shedeur Sanders has been one of the most polarizing names in football. At Colorado, he showcased both talent and resilience, breaking passing records, dazzling with his arm strength, and keeping the Buffaloes competitive against powerhouse programs. But when it came time for the NFL Draft, Shedeur slid further down the board than many experts predicted. And now, in a stunning moment of honesty, Deion Sanders has stepped forward to say, in his own words, that he takes the blame for that slide. "That's why they did what they did," Deion said, acknowledging that his own high-profile personality and controversial coaching style may have played a role in how NFL front offices evaluated his son. Let's unpack this. Shedeur Sanders entered the draft with one of the strongest resumes in college football. His numbers spoke for themselves: accuracy, leadership, and poise under pressure. Scouts noted his mechanics, his ability to extend plays, and his composure in late-game situations. But critics raised concerns too. They pointed to Colorado's offensive line struggles, the number of sacks he took, and whether his game would translate against NFL defenses. On draft night, those concerns became reality. Teams passed on Shedeur, opting for other prospects, some of whom didn't carry the same production or pedigree. What was behind those decisions? Deion Sanders believes it wasn't just about Shedeur's game tape. Instead, he says it was about the perception surrounding his own larger-than-life persona. Deion has always been unapologetically himself, bold, outspoken, and confident. His transformation of Colorado's program, his brash style, and his willingness to call out critics made him the face of college football for much of last season. But in the high-stakes, conservative world of NFL front offices, some executives may have viewed that spotlight as a distraction. According to Deion, that perception trickled down to Shedeur. Teams questioned whether drafting him meant also inheriting the primetime brand. Would Shedeur be judged fairly on his own merits, or would he always be tied to his father's shadow? Deion admitted that in hindsight, this weighed heavily on the draft process. Now, for Shedeur, the slide in the draft wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Falling further down the board has given him added motivation. Those who know Shedeur describe him as calm, focused, and determined to let his play do the talking. Already, he's adjusting to life at the professional level, learning playbooks, and competing for a role where he can prove the doubters wrong. This isn't the first time a quarterback has slipped in the draft despite high expectations. We've seen it before. Aaron Rodgers famously slid on draft night, only to become one of the greatest of all time. Lamar Jackson was passed over by multiple teams before redefining the quarterback position. Even Tom Brady was overlooked until the sixth round. The lesson is clear: draft position doesn't define destiny. But what makes Shedeur's case unique is the connection to his father. Deion Sanders, as both a legendary NFL figure and a current head coach, understands the pressures and politics of the league. His willingness to take accountability publicly is rare. Few parents, let alone Hall of Fame fathers, would admit to playing a role in their child's professional trajectory. Yet Deion's comments underline a bigger truth about the NFL. Perception can matter just as much as performance. For fans, the question is simple: how will Shedeur respond? Early reports out of rookie camp suggest he's already turning heads with his accuracy and leadership. Coaches praise his work ethic, noting that he arrives early, stays late, and studies film relentlessly. He knows the noise surrounding his draft slide won't go away overnight, but he's embracing the challenge. And for Deion, this moment is both humbling and clarifying. As a father, he's fiercely protective of his children. As a coach, he he understands the unforgiving nature of football. His admission isn't just about taking blame. It's also about setting the stage for Shedeur to write his own story, separate from the shadow of prime time. Let's also consider what this means for the future. If Shedeur thrives in the NFL, the narrative will flip. Instead of being remembered for his draft slide, he'll be celebrated as the quarterback who overcame doubt, silenced critics, and carved his own path. And if that happens, Deion's honesty today may someday be viewed as the spark that fueled his son's rise. Around the league, players, analysts, and fans are weighing in. Some applaud Deion for his honesty, while others believe he's overstating his influence. Ultimately, the NFL is about results. If Shedeur delivers, the past won't matter. But if he struggles, critics will point back to this moment as proof that distractions follow the Sanders name. No matter where you stand, one thing is certain: the story of Shedeur Sanders is far from finished. In fact, it's only just beginning. His draft slide may have been a setback, but setbacks often become setups for comebacks. And with his talent, determination, and now a chip on his shoulder, Shedeur has every opportunity to rewrite the narrative. For now, all eyes will be on Shedeur as he takes his first snaps in the NFL. Will he prove the doubters wrong? Will he show that he's more than just Deion's son? And will we look back years from now and say the NFL got it wrong on draft night? Only time will tell. One thing's for sure: the Sanders name continues to dominate football conversations, from college sidelines to NFL boardrooms. And as this chapter unfolds, it promises to be one of the most fascinating stories in sports. I'm Roger, and this has been NFL Trending. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and breaking news from around the league. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.